Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. My name is Rachel Kennedy and this is Living the Denver Boulder Lifestyle. Today I am going to dig into all things Lakewood, everything you need to know if you're considering moving to Lakewood, and everything you should know to add it to your list. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you that I am a licensed broker in the state of Colorado. So as much as I love putting this content together for you and helping you learn where you should land when you move out here, I'd love even more to help you with those real estate needs. So please feel free to hit me up on that number or that email that is popping up on your screen below, and let's dig in. All right, before we dig into all things Lakewood, I'd like to remind you to hit that like and subscribe button that is popping up on your screen below so that you get notified every time I put out new videos, which is every Thursday afternoon. All right, so let's talk about Lakewood, Colorado, why I love it. You probably noticed by now that I love a lot of different places in the Denver area, but Lakewood is truly like one of those hidden gems that it doesn't get a ton of press, it doesn't get a lot of attention, but it really should, and we're going to talk about why. So Lakewood is both a suburb of Denver and also a city in and of itself. So Lakewood is actually the fourth largest city in the state of Colorado, behind Denver, Colorado Springs, Aurora, and then we have Lakewood in there at the number 4 spot. So Lakewood's population as of the 2020 census was 155,000. So now we're 3 years out, right? Because I'm recording this in 2023. So we probably have a population in Lakewood around closer to that 160, maybe 165-ish population. So you can see why it is a pretty large city. So Lakewood is located just to the west of the city of Denver, to the south of Golden, to the north of Littleton, and just to the east of a little town called Morrison, or just to the east of the base of the foothills. So just a little shout out to Morrison, Colorado. If you need to be close to the city or want to be close to the city, but also like that mountain feel, that like small town, little mountain town feel, Morrison is a great little spot that not a lot of people know about. It doesn't get as much press or as much attention as, let's say, Boulder or Golden, but it is a cool secret little spot. So if you come out here for a visit, definitely check out Morrison. So Lakewood's location makes it one of the most desirable in terms of being really accessible to both the city of Denver and also to the mountains. So Lakewood is connected to the city of Denver by our light rail system, and the light rail goes right into Lakewood along 6th Avenue. In addition to connecting Lakewood to the city of Denver, the light rail line also connects Lakewood down into the Littleton area. You can take the light rail from Lakewood into the city, and there you can make a connection out to DIA, which is our international airport, and then also up north into Westminster. So the fact that the light rail comes into Lakewood and you can take it into Union Station, which is kind of like the main hub of the light rail line, makes it super accessible to a lot of different areas of the city. So it would be very, very easy for you to work in the city but live in Lakewood and be able to omit driving altogether. Being that Lakewood is set right at the base of the foothills, it makes Lakewood super accessible to the mountains as well. So Matthew Winters Park is one of the best both hiking and mountain biking parks, super close to Lakewood. I would say Lakewood to Matthew Winters Park, you're probably a 10-minute drive. You can also hop on 470 out of Lakewood, and then that'll connect you to I-70, which will take you all the way up into the mountains. So I would say your closest ski resort to Lakewood is going to be Loveland. And on a good day, you could probably make it to Loveland in about 45 minutes, an hour if you hit traffic, obviously depending on the traffic. So that's why I love the location of Lakewood. It's super, super accessible again to the city, super, super accessible to the mountains. Also, one of the biggest draws to Lakewood and one of their kind of bragging points is that they are known for being the city of 100 parks. So they have a ton of green space, over 11,000 acres of green space in just that one city itself. So, and you can see it when you're going through Lakewood. Like there's a ton of deep, big valleys. You do sit again right at the base of the foothills, so it starts to get really, really hilly in Lakewood, which makes for some great views, right? Because if you are able to snag a house on one of those big hills, then you're gonna have either really good foothill views or really good city views. Lakewood became a city in 1969 officially. So most of the homes in Lakewood, I would say probably about 75% of the houses that exist in Lakewood are built in the late 60s, 70s, into the 80s. So that's going to be the majority of the homes that you'll find, which makes for very mature neighborhoods. You'll get big mature trees, again, very hilly. The neighborhoods in Lakewood, some of them, not all of them, but the majority of the neighborhoods in Lakewood kind of remind me of what I would imagine the Brady Bunch neighborhood feeling like. You can find some really cool mid-century modern pockets. The other 25% of the homes that exist in Lakewood are going to be built after the 2000s. So the city of Lakewood actually has a moratorium on new developments, which is why we don't see a ton of new builds or even new developments going on in Lakewood itself. So the moratorium allows for only 1% of the existing homes to be issued in new building permits. So if we had 300 homes in the city of Lakewood, the city would only allow for 3 building permits to be issued each year. So obviously there's way more than 300 homes in the city of Lakewood, but just to give you an example. So with that, we don't see a ton of new builds happening in the city of Lakewood. There is currently a new development going on. It is called Red Rocks Ranch. So if you're interested in a new build and Lakewood is piquing your interest, check out Red Rocks Ranch. If you have any questions about the builders that are building in Red Rocks Ranch or what those nuances are, feel free to hit me up and I'd love to kind of advise you through the good, the bad, the ugly, all the stuff. One of the other really cool neighborhoods in Lakewood that I'm going to dig into in a totally separate video in a little bit more detail is called Solterra. Solterra is this neighborhood that was built in the mid to late 2000s. I think the first homes started being built in like maybe 2010-ish, 2009, 2010-ish. They are very like Southwest style, they all have clay tile roofs, really unique architecture as you drive through. So it makes for a very unique feeling as you're in the neighborhood. So again, I'll dig into it more in my specific Solterra video. Lakewood is part of the Jeffco School District or Jefferson County School District. Jefferson County School District is one of the biggest school districts in the state. It spans all the way from the Westminster area up north, all the way down into Littleton. So it covers a few different cities. There are a ton of different schools that encompass Jefferson County schools. The cool part about Jefferson County schools and most of the districts out here in Colorado is that they operate on what's called the school of choice option. So that means that if you live in Jefferson County, you have the option to choice into any of the schools within that district. So you don't necessarily have to go to your feeder school if you're looking for a specific type of curriculum, or you're not necessarily a fan of the ratings of your feeder school. You have options. So one of the things that Lakewood is lacking is a true like downtown historical Main Street kind of feel. We have a main street in almost all of the small little towns surrounding the city of Denver. So Arvada has one, Littleton has one, Louisville has one, Lafayette has one, but Lakewood lacks that. And I think because it wasn't a city until the 70s, so they didn't have a little downtown area that, you know, was built in the turn of the century. But what Lakewood does have is the Belmar Shopping District and Belmar Park. So Belmar Shopping District was built in the 2000s and houses both big box stores and small locally owned shops. So there's a Target in Belmar, there is a Whole Foods, but there's also, again, locally owned restaurants, shops. It's a really great little area to just kind of tool around during the day. There's coffee shops. During the winter time, they have a little courtyard area that they set up an ice skating rink. We go down as a family every year and do some ice skating. It's really charming. They have little tea lights hanging up, and there's a movie theater in Belmar. So lots to do there for sure. It just doesn't have that like quaint historical feel to it, which you can get elsewhere. The properties surrounding the Belmar Shopping District were built again in the mid 2000s. So you get a lot of the both condo lifestyle, apartment lifestyle, and then you also have some like urban dwellings where they are the tall and skinny townhouses where you walk up and then maybe as you enter in the door, you're going up a flight of stairs to the main living space. So the property values in Lakewood range from the low to mid 200s for a 1-bedroom condo all the way into the millions for a single family home in that Solterra neighborhood. So it really, really runs the gamut, but the average price point sits right around that mid 500s to low 600s price point for an average single family home. So it's very accessible both to that first time home buyer that just wants to get into their first condo, but also that luxury home buyer who wants a move up property. Along with Belmar Shopping District, there's also a Belmar Park, and Belmar Park is one of the kind of big draws for the city of Lakewood, and that's where they host their annual Cider Fest. That's where they host their Italian Fest. Both really awesome events to attend. It's obviously a huge community event. They have great food. The Cider Fest is focused around hard ciders, so it's really fun to go with the family, walk around sipping on a cider, have a turkey leg. There's a petting zoo and jumpy castles and stuff like that. So just really great family fun. And I would be remiss to talk about Lakewood and not mention Red Rocks. So technically Red Rocks is not part of the city of Lakewood. It's actually part of the city of Morrison, which I mentioned earlier. But Lakewood is so close to Red Rocks that I think if they could claim Red Rocks, they totally would. Who wouldn't? If you haven't been to Red Rocks, if you don't know what Red Rocks is, you have to check it out. It is by far a bucket list thing to do. Red Rocks is like our golden child here in Denver. It is our best concert venue in the entire state. Not only do they host concerts at Red Rocks, but they also do yoga on the rocks, they do movies on the rocks, and it is actually a go-to spot for some really intense workouts. So you'll see people doing CrossFit up and down those stairs. Red Rocks is open to the public up until a couple hours before sound check for a show. So if there's not a show happening that day, then Red Rocks is open to the public all day. But they usually shut it down to the public a couple hours before they start doing sound check for that night's show. But otherwise, you can just go to Red Rocks and hike around, walk around. It's a really, really cool place. My husband likes to joke that he would go and watch paint dry at Red Rocks, and he's not wrong. I totally would too. We're actually headed to Red Rocks Monday night to go see the Yeah Yeah Yes. So it is a really cool spot. I love living super close to Red Rocks. I would say Red Rocks to the city of Lakewood, as a whole, is probably a quick 10-minute drive. So again, Lakewood just has a really, really prime location. I'm kind of talking myself into wanting to move to Lakewood. So that's all I have on Lakewood. I hope this was super helpful. And if I left any questions unanswered, feel free to comment below. Until next time.